Hey, guten Tag, everyone. It's good to see you here. This is Viper Strike Flight Simulation. And it's good to have you guys here. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to where you're at in the world. So I hope you're doing well here today. And I am here in Munich, Germany, the third largest city in the country. And today we got a very special day for all of us here. So we're going to be doing part 1 of our city tour series, as we're going to Berlin, Germany today. But with Berlin having so many museums and such, I don't think I can do this in one stream. So I decided, you know what, I want to do part 1 of our tour flying to Berlin. So our flight plan today would just be a pretty simple flight from Munich to Berlin. Here it is. So we're going to take off from Munich. We'll be flying straight across. We'll be flying near to the Sudetenland in Czechia, which is right around the border between Germany and Czechia. Fly across here and make our landing here at Berlin Bradenburg Airport. So that is going to be our flight for today. Just a simple flight. But I wanted to do something a little different for today's flight. I wanted to do something more historical. So I wanted to do a flight that's actually based, if you're from the 1930s, and you wanted to fly around Germany. Well, there's actually the perfect plane for this in the sim, actually. And it is this beauty right here. Yes, it's an old favorite of mine. It's been a long time favorite of mine to fly in Microsoft Flight Simulator. That is the Yonkers Ju52. The thing is an absolute beauty. I mean, what's there to know about it? There's 3 BMW engines. It first flew in 1932 for the single engine version. But this plane was the workhorse of Deutsche Lufthansa since it came into existence back in the 30s. It was used by not just Lufthansa, but also the Luftwaffe, the German Air Force, during World War II as both a transport for both paratroopers and cargo. As well, it's been used all over the place. They did flights from this thing from Berlin to Rome in 8 hours. They also flew one to London and Berlin. And Lufthansa had 231 of these by the war. It was used for military purposes by Luftwaffe, Spanish Air Force, the Colombian Air Force, and even after the war, this was still used for both military and civilian use, including that of the Portuguese, Swiss Air Force. Some of them were reused back to civilian use, like British European Airways operated 11 of those, along with being used by the USSR. And in fact, there were even some that was used in Papua New Guinea, which is known for its brutal conditions. So it's a very versatile bird. It's a wonderful plane to actually take up to the air and flying. So let's get into the cockpit, shall we? So we get to the cockpit here. So it looks like this is going to be the 1939 version, so it doesn't have any of the modern avionics and other equipment. It's just your good old steam gauges and everything. So it's pretty simple, pretty easy to learn. So if you guys want to join along, I'm on East USA server, and obviously the nearest airport's to your top right corner. Echo Delta Delta Mike is our closest airport. So we're going to go ahead and get this plane started. Battery is on. Parking brake has been set. We don't need to set the pipe heat for today. Fuel tank selectors on both. Let's see. %9 tanks for today. And the altimeters look pretty good. So everything looks fine. Everything looks the way it should. So I hope you guys are doing well today. I'm just going to go ahead and get this plane started. Just pull. We just go ahead and just do this. Okay, that's good. That's engine number 3. We can just do this. Got that. That's engine number 1. We just close the waddle pump. Good to see you, Super Typhon. Good to see you here. I hope you're doing well, Super Typhon. So yeah, we're just getting this Yonkers started. Then for this one, we need to turn the fuel pump. This is just for engine 2 only. We just gotta pull on this engine. So everything looks good. And then we can just turn off the injection shutoff valve in this, and we'll be done starting the engines. Awesome. We got that started, so we can just take care of the extra lights. So yeah, everything looks good. We're gonna get ready to get going. Good to have all you guys here in chat today. So yeah, we're gonna get ready to fly here today. The autopilot is at, we're going at 10 degrees. Gonna set the gyro pilot into the autopilot on this thing to 10 degrees. Since we're gonna be doing a base Lufthansa flight in this thing. So some interesting facts about Munich Airport. This is Germany's, I believe this is Germany's second busiest airport. Yeah, it's second busiest airport in Germany based on passenger traffic, only behind Frankfurt. This international airport serves as a hub for the flag carrier Lufthansa, but it also serves as one of the focus cities for Condor, Eurowings, and TUI Fly Deutschland operate here at the airport. Hey, King Cobra, good to see you. My Sunday's going great. Sunday's been great. Thank you so much for asking. This airport here opened all the way, it's actually a recent airport, opened back in 1992 to replace their previous airport, Munich Riem Airport. is the second hub for Lufthansa. This thing covers 3,892 acres of land, and it has destinations from all across the world as well. Mainly for a lot of Lufthansa's destinations in Europe, this is where they often fly to for a lot of their destinations. There's also a flight operations center here located at the airport to train its crews and all that. There's also 2 hotels on the airport grounds. There's even a training facility that was created by Audi right on the grounds. So there's definitely some pretty unique things. Hey friends, all good to see you. I'm Berliner. I am Berliner. Yes, I will be making a mention of that today. Lass sie nach Berlin kommen. Let them come to Berlin. So good to see you, my friend. So I'm on the East USA server, guys, if you want to join. But I wanted to do this a 2-week series. I want to do this 2 weeks because Berlin's a pretty important city. I mean, with all the historical stuff in Berlin, I rather want to talk about this in 2 weeks. It'd just be much easier. I mean, Berlin's got so many museums, plus historical buildings and everything. It just wouldn't make sense to do this in 1 week. Okay. Go ahead, put max. Now the cruise altitude today, guys. I set in my my lane rate monitor route plan that we're going to be around 10,000 feet, around 9,000, 10,000 feet, because should we go with a sub 100 knot cruise speed? Hey Chronico, good to see you. I'm going to be around 120 knots, actually. That's where they cruise this normally. They normally cruise at 120 knots, so I think we're going to get to that speed today. And Quartz, good to see you, my good friend. Thank you so much, Quartz, for coming in. We're taking off here from Munich Airport in Germany. Basically, I'm doing it just like it was in 1935. In the Yonkers Ju52 to Munich to Berlin. Oh, the stage hitbox? The hitbox can go to 140 knots. This thing should have no trouble keeping up with this thing. I'm gonna go ahead and circle around the airport for a little, do a formation pattern. Hey, guten Tag, Kaharia. Good to see you. I probably need to do some shout outs, by the way. Shout out to Court. To Quart, he does flight simulation stuff as well, and also a shout out to my good friend Kaharia. Both really good streamers and very good friends of mine in the community. Good to see you guys. Hope you're doing well. We're just doing a quick flight around the airport just for traffic. Just make sure anyone else wants to join. Wait, if we're flying on 9003, yeah, definitely take the Beechcraft Model 18. Beechcraft Model 18 would be perfect for this flight. Because we're flying vintage airliners. That's perfect. No, the Beechcraft 18, like I said, Chronicle, Beechcraft 18 is recommended for a reason. You should have no trouble catching up to a Yonkers Ju52. Okay. But it's great to have everyone here. So guys, if you guys weren't paying attention on Wednesday, so on Wednesday, I did my stream from Berlin to, from Strasbourg to Munich. Well, I told you, unloaded my Yonkers, awesome. That's perfect. Yonkers is perfect for today's trip. Oh, Sergeant Staff of the Raid. for the rate of 7 people. Or my good friend Sergeant Staff, welcome to the stream. You came here at a good time, actually. Autopilot on. Good to see you, my friend. Yeah, I love the Beechcraft. Yeah, the Beechcraft I think is actually pretty good. I would love to get my hands on the Beechcraft. My only issue is it's a Carinado plane. That's my only issue. Because, you know, all the sound issues. But thank you so much, Sergeant Staff. So, guys, we're doing part 1 of my city tour series from Munich to Berlin. This will be for today's stream. Part 2, which is next Sunday, is going to feature the rest of it, which we're going to turn the rest of the city. I wanted to split it off to 2 weeks since Berlin, you know, is the capital of Germany, and I don't think it'd be good for me to do all that once. All things have not gone well today, so oh yeah, the Carinado issue's been fixed. Thank you for pointing that out, Sergeant Staff. Thank you. Oh, yeah, definitely. The electric is a good alternative. That's what Allison Johnson is. Like I said, for the recommended, it's like basically bringing 1930s era plane into there. The 247 would be good. But since we're in Germany, we're going to fly the Yonkers. I mean, we are in Deutschland after all. Makes sense to take the Yonkers. Oh, you had sound issues the entire stream. Oh, I'm so sorry, Sergeant Staff. I hope that gets fixed soon. I hope you find out the issue and fix it. Hopefully you got enough time to fix it before the next stream. Then the Corsair. Yeah, just like in real life, the Corsair is a massive handful to deal with, both in real life and in the ground. So we're going to climb up to 9,000 feet for today. Basically, I mean, it's kind of fitting we're taking the Yonkers over from Munich to Berlin. This is based off an actual route that I found on the aircraft timetables, and they did a route with Yonkers from Munich to Berlin. And today, this flight would take less than an hour to get a flight from Munich to Berlin. A flight between this and should take around 2 hours. Oh yeah, oh Paparazzi, good to see you. Yes, Airlock Doc had it. He actually had a mod for that, and that fixed his problems. And that was what he had. There was a mod, Airlock Doc done this. I believe it's somewhere in the Tutorial Discord, but he actually had a mod to fix the Carinado sound issues. This is the only flight for today, Super Typhon. No worries, it takes you a few minutes, no worries. The beach is much faster than the Yonkers. It is much faster than this. I mean, you can reach 109 knots with this. The max this Yonkers could do is only 140. You have no trouble reaching. Hey, Infidel Fireman, good to see you. MSFS tag, my gamer tag's Viberstrike 9510 is my gamer tag King Cobra. Wow, holy crap, 20 people already? That's amazing, guys. Thank you so much for coming along today's stream. You guys picked a great time to fly here with me today. I mean, it feels right to fly the Yonkers through Germany. I mean, you can't think of a more perfect plane to take it here. 157 for the Yonkers. A Sols can claim it can do 157 knots. I try to get as fast as I can with Yonkers, and I can only get it to 143, which is the true max cruise speed for this thing. It's not as fast as it can go without structuring. I'm gonna pause. 1, 2, 3. All right, let's accept the friend request. All right, and exit. Awesome. Thanks, King Cobra, for sending that. So let's see who's flying with us today. In this Yonkers, we have Chronicle. He's going to come in with the Beechcraft Model 18, which in real life the Model 18 is a fantastic plane. It is the most used light aircraft. Over 9,000 of those have been built. It was used for all sorts of purposes: VIP transport, cargo, passengers. It was used as a patrol plane, I believe. It was such a versatile plane. But man, this is beautiful. See, you guys know how much I love this Yonkers Ju52. I mean, I have many books with this Yonkers, by the way. I mean, if you guys don't mind, I'll grab both the books. If I can show you guys what I'm talking about. Let's go. So, this is the book called The Saga of Iron Annie. So it talks about Martin Kaiden's restoration of Delta Quebec Alpha Quebec Uniform India, and that thing is currently the previous oldest airworthy Yonkers Ju52, and before that it was served in Norway as a float plane actually, and they did a lot of flights up in Norway in the fjords and such. Then it fell into disuse. Then it ended up in the United States. Martin Kaiden actually bought the plane back in the 70s, and he completely restored it and fitted with modern retrofitted avionics. And then he owned it for many years, and Iron Annie became a plane used for the air shows and all that. And it was very popular at a lot of the air shows. Then apparently, this book here talks about the history of the Yonkers in general, but later on, they took that plane, and the folks at Lufthansa found that plane, and they actually bought it from Kaiden, and they flew from Miami all the way back to Hamburg via Savannah, Pittsburgh, Bangor, Goose Bay, Greenland, Iceland, and a stop at Liverpool before they make their way back to Hamburg to get it restored back to her beauty. It's a really cool story. I'm hoping to recreate it at some point. Maybe if there's nothing else to do with Firefly Air, I'm hoping if I can get to Firefly Air achievement, maybe make that as one of the achievements to recreate that journey. It's such an historic plane, don't get me. Oh yeah, I still love the hardcovers. Yeah, I'm that kind of way too. I like the hardcover stuff too. Yeah, it's an old paper, but it's definitely really cool. So yeah, guys, so I was very happy to tell you. So on Wednesday after my stream, so this certain Irish guy, I think his name is Two-Tone Murphy. So Murph actually brought me on to the Murph line. And by the way, if you want to actually check out the Murph line, here it is. Just click the link to Two-Tone Murphy. I'm giving him a shout out. Click his link, and you should see. It was last Wednesday's video. So I was on the Murph line for a bit, and it was awesome. It was awesome to chat to the community, to get to know me a bit better, and I had a lot of fun on it. I enjoyed talking about my story with Flight Sim, how I got to manage to be Year 2. I got to talk about my story with flight simulation, how I got to be a researcher and researching all this sort of stuff. I got to actually talk about my origin and all that. It was a lot of fun being around all this. So it was a lot of fun, and I answered a lot of Mercer's questions. I obviously said no to the pineapple on pizza thing. I mean, why would you put pineapple on pizza? And I also had a lot of fun. I answered a few major questions, and I asked questions from the chat as well. But it was just awesome. I recommend you guys check out that VOD. Has the 247D been updated yet? I haven't gotten any news of an update yet, unfortunately. Though, Bart, they did mention it is getting updated in the future. It's just they haven't got to update it now, unfortunately. But it will come in the future, I promise. So let's see. Oh, Gaharia. Oh, she sent me a DM. Oh, the Yonkers would no longer take off. Ah, got it. So yeah, there's no airworthy Ju52s left. Because there was a Ju52 that crashed in Switzerland back in 2018. However, there is a good news, however. The Ju52 will be coming back, though. It's called the Ju52NG, which basically is a brand new Yonkers. It was designed by Yonkers. It's a new successor to the Ju52, featuring, you can carry 14 people, and would feature RED A3 V12 4-stroke diesel engines. And it's going to come, and modern avionics, and that's going to come out in 2025. I am actually very curious to see how things are going to go with the new Yonkers. I would absolutely fly the new Yonkers in the sim, absolutely. If they ever someone make one, I'm definitely getting it. And see how it compares to the old one. Do you see me anywhere around you? Yeah, let me go ahead and check, Carmichael. I see King Cobra. Yeah, hope Yonkers rock. Yeah, I hope the new Yonkers is good too. I mean, it's got a massive pedigree, like DC3, it's got a massive pedigree. I see King Cobra. I don't see you, Chronicle, unless you're all the way back in the back. Yeah, the Germans make a lot of awesome stuff. Awesome cars, like Beamers, Mercedes, Audis, Porsches. Germans make a lot of watches. They make all sorts of stuff. But I don't see anywhere around you. Let's see. Let's open the sunroof. There's the amazing sunroof. Canada could be making amazing planes. Oh yeah, Canada's known for a lot of planes. I mean, you have you have all the DHC planes. You have the Beaver, Otter, Twin Otter, Dash 7, Dash 8. Those are fantastic Canadian-made planes. They almost made the Afro Aero, which was made from Canada back in the 70s. And that could have been Canada's main warbird. I saw Roster Bread Friend. Are they with us? No. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about my slideshow for today. This is just part one of our trip, but we're actually heading to Berlin, Germany. So we're going to talk about the city of Berlin now. So Berlin, guys, if you haven't known this yet, but Berlin is the capital and largest city here in Germany, with over 3.7 million inhabitants. It's also the most populous city in the European Union by city limits. It's one of 16 constituent states here in Berlin, and Berlin's surrounded by the state of Brandenburg. And it's contiguous with the capital of Brandenburg, Potsdam, which we will be visiting next Sunday. Berlin's urban area is around 4.5 million, making it the second most populous urban area in Germany after the Ruhr. Berlin is on the banks of the Spree River, which flows into the Havel. Among the city's most unique topographic features are the many lakes in the west and southeast, formed by those rivers. The largest is Lake Bugelsee. Due to its location here in the European plain, Berlin is influenced by a temperate seasonal climate. And 1/3 of the city's area is comprised of forests, parks, gardens, rivers, canals, and lakes. Berlin was actually first documented in the 13th century and at the crossing of two important historic trade routes. It became the capital of many of the German states, and not including the Markgrave of Bradenburg, the Kingdom of Prussia, the German Empire, the Weimars, the Third Reich, aka the Nazis, before it was divided after World War II between West Berlin and East Berlin, marked by the Berlin Wall. Until 1989, and following German reunification, it became the capital of the Federal Republic of Germany, the FRG. Berlin is a world city of culture, politics, media, and science, with lots of high-tech firms and a strong service sector, with all sorts of creative industries like research, media corporations, and more. It also serves as a major continental hub for a lot of air and especially rail traffic, and has a very complex public transport network across the city. It's also a popular tourist destination thanks to the fact we have so many national parks and especially all the museums and such. It's home to world-renowned universities. Its zoos are some of the most visited in all of Europe and worldwide. There's also a large filming complex here at Valspar Film Studio, which has been around since 1912 and known for a lot of its festivals, diverse architecture, nightlife, and a high quality of living. It also contains 3 World Heritage Sites, which we will be visiting next week: Museum Island, the palaces and parks of Potsdam and Berlin, and the Berlin Modernism House and Estates. There's also other very famous landmarks. Obviously, Bradenburg Gate, obviously, which we will absolutely talk about, the Reichstag, the Potsdamer Platz, the Holocaust Memorial here in Berlin, the Berlin Wall Memorial, and the Berlin Television Tower, the tallest structure in the entire country. So that is a bit about Berlin, a bit of the background between Berlin. Have a great day, viewers. Thank you so much, Quart. Good to see you. There you are, Chronico. I see you up there. There you are, Chronico. I see you. You're way here at 7,000 feet. Oh, I see you up there. There you go, Quart. I see you there, Chronico. Good to see all of you guys here. So I hope you're doing well. So I hope you guys are here. Yeah, we're going to. So yeah, we got more German cities down here below us. Looks like we got Regensburg down below us. I know that's not part of our journey, but that's Regensburg down below us. Right on the banks of the Danube River, there's definitely one of the more interesting German cities. But if you ever go to a river cruise, you probably visit this place. But Friedensburg, a bit of background about this. It's in eastern Bavaria, the confluence of the Danube, Naab, and Rhine rivers. It's the 4th largest city in Bavaria. It was actually it was formed as a imperial river fort of the Romans, and it's been a political, economic, and cultural center of the region. And it's well known for its unique medieval center of the city, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's very much traveled by a lot of people in Germany. So there's Regensburg, there's the medieval center of the city down below us. And I now see you, Chronico. Oh, you disappeared again. Yeah, I'm hoping that's gonna get solved in 7.8.10. I know they did have an option for that, but I wouldn't know until until I try it out when it comes out here in August. I don't think we have to wait too much longer for the new updates, hopefully. So we're just going to continue climbing up. But yeah, this is beautiful here, guys. Just stunning. The German countryside, very beautiful as well. At least I can see King Cobra. Yeah, as long as you can see one of us flying along. Just climbing up a bit further to get to. Hey, Alec D, good morning, my good friend. Good to see you. So, we're gonna go ahead and talk about Berlin's history. Our history lesson for Berlin for today. So let's talk about Berlin's history, shall we? So Berlin during this time, the earliest human settlements have been discovered here. Actually, since 1174, apparently, found excavations here at the Berlin Mine dated back to 1192 by one of the houses. In the 12th century, as well, Berlin was founded by Albert the Bear in 1157. And near the end of the 12th century, German merchants found the first settlements around Berlin, called Berlin, which came around the modern areas of Nikolai-Verti and Kolin as well. 1237 is considered to be the founding date of the city. The two towns over time formed close economic social ties and profited from the important trade routes during the time. In 1307, they formed an alliance with the common external policies in that as well. In 1415, Frederick I became the elector of the Margrave of Bradenburg, which he ruled until 1440, and during the 15th century, his successors established the Berlin Cologne as the capital of the Margraves, and combined that with several members of the Hohenzollern family, they ruled the city until 1980, beginning at Bradenburg, then as kings of Prussia, and become German conquerors. In 1443, Frederick II, Iron Tooth, he started construction of a new royal palace here in the Twin City, known as the famous Berlin Palace. Protests around the towns against the building culminated in 1448, but they were put down. However, it gave up the status of a city back in the latter half of the 15th century. After the Protestant Reformation, they became Lutheran and become Protestants, but some other news around this area as well. So some other stuff during this time. Then we get to the 30 Years' War as well in 1618. It had absolutely devastating effects for the people here. Basically, for guys who don't know what the 30 Years' War is, it is one of the most destructive wars in European history. It lasted for 30 years, killed over 4 million casualties. 4.5 to 8 million people died in this 30 years conflict. And this was because the German religious struggles during the time of the Protestant Reformation. And as a result, it was a brutal war. But it had absolutely devastating consequences to Berlin. 1/3 of the houses in all of Berlin was destroyed, and half of its population was gone during the war. Frederick William, known as the Great Elector, initiated a policy to promote immigration and religious tolerance. And as a result, they gained a lot of refugees to the Huguenots. During this time as well, they also built a brand new neighborhood around the Dorotheenstadt and the Friedrichstadt were more neighborhoods. And they also had more refugees from Bohemia, Poland, and Salzburg during this time. However, the big thing was in the 17th century. If you recall, the Kingdom of Prussia was formed between the Duchy of Prussia and the Margrave of Bradenburg in a personal union. A personal union basically is a combination of two more states that have the same monarch. And they basically, the dual state formed the Kingdom of Prussia. And with Frederick III as elector, he crowned himself as King Frederick I of Prussia. Berlin became the new capital of the kingdom, replacing the previous capital of Königsberg, which is now Kaliningrad. In 1709, Berlin merged with the four cities of Cologne, Friedrichstadt, and Dorotheenstadt under the name Berlin. However, the glorious part of Prussia was with Frederick II. A lot of Germans know him as Frederick the Great. He was an absolutely brilliant general, absolutely brilliant tactician and leader. But he was also a very well-known lover of all things music and philosophy. And became one of the greatest leaders in German history. And Berlin reached new heights thanks to him. However, it was occupied by the 7 Years' War by the Russians. And it was also occupied by the French during the Napoleonic era. During this time. However, the big thing that really transformed Berlin to become a world capital was the Industrial Revolution. And it caused the population and economy to explode, becoming the main railway hub and economic center of the new unified Germany. That was formed after the Franco-Prussian War during that time. And it led to unbelievable economic growth. And that economic growth was created by a lot of the mercantilist policies of Prussia during that time, with lots of steam gauges and all that. And it became the imperial capital of Germany. And I mean, Berlin was a major part. There was bankers, industrialists, talented scientists and scholars in this Germany. You also have the Reichstag that was built during this time. But it was really the First World War. When World War I came around as well, World War I was a lot of support. However, with the war continuing going on, there was lots of rationing and all that. And there was also some major instability and stuff. And after the First World War, Germany went through a lot of rebuilding during the Weimar era, which Berlin had a population around 4 million. However, with bad economy due to the 20s, and also the Treaty of Versailles was kind of the thing, there was a lot of economic uncertainty. And then during the infamous period, the Nazis, obviously. They also kicked out a lot of its Jewish people as well. Hey, I'll join a few. You're just sitting to Reno. Oh, right there, Alec D. Yeah, I would love you to join me. But yeah, definitely make that land into Reno. So the Nazis try to rebuild their economy, but the bad thing is the Nazis also exiled a lot of their Jews and such. They had to leave. In 1936, the Berlin Olympics were held here in Nazi Germany. And Nazi rule destroyed the entirety of Berlin's Jewish community. And then during World War II, Berlin was bombed a lot during the war as well. It was destroyed in many air raids. From 1940 to 1945, there was a lot of raids over. including lots of strategic bombing and everything. And then the battle of Berlin itself in 1945 was the end of the Second World War in Europe. Then after World War II ended, Berlin itself was actually divided between 4 different occupations from the French, British, American, and Soviets. As well. Eventually, in 1948, with the currency reform during the time, the Soviet Union imposed a blockade among all the access routes. So a major airlift happened during that time, and that was the Berlin airlift. Conducted by the 3 Western Allies, overcame the blockade and such, supplying food and supplies to the city from June 1948 to 1949. And in that same year, the Federal Republic of Germany was founded in the West, which included the French, British, and French zones, while the East Germany was founded on the Soviet zone. West Berlin still became occupied, but it was federally aligned with the Federal Republic of Germany. The founding of those 2 German states increased tensions in the Cold War, and as a result, the East Germans built the Berlin Wall to surround the West Germans, and events escalated to a tank standoff at this place called Checkpoint Charlie during this time. And stuff like this remained there until 1989, as well, with the fall of the Berlin Wall on November 9th. There's still a gallery on the east side which preserves a large portion of the wall. In October 3rd, 1990, Germany was reunified as the Federal Republic of Germany, and Berlin became reunited once again. And finally, the last part as well, Berlin hosted the 2006 FIFA World Cup final, was held here in Berlin. And just 2 years ago, the Berlin Bradenburg Airport finally opened. It was supposed to be constructed in 2005, and it now came out in just 2020. So that's a bit about Berlin's history, guys. A little bit about Type B for barometer update. Alpha did a recreation of the Berlin airlift. Yeah, the Berlin airlift. It's crazy how they managed, that the Soviets managed to lift the blockade. I mean, it was a pretty crazy event. Oh, 30.14. Definitely a very beautiful sight. So I hope you guys actually enjoyed this bit about Berlin's history. So yeah, Berlin's got a long and storied history of itself. But yeah, let's see who's still out here with us today. We have Chronico and King Cobra here. Do we still see you two guys up in the back? So I want to ask you guys, I hope you guys have had a great weekend so far. I'm currently having a good time for myself. Been working on this stream for quite a bit. I still probably need to work on next Wednesday's, this upcoming Wednesday stream from Munich to Vienna, which should be really cool as well. We'll be going along the train route again for some IFR flying. As awesome as always. So for Microsoft Flight Simulator, I think the only news I've read so far for MSFSaddons.com is the brand new Belfast International Airport just came out. Echo Golf Alpha Alpha for 20 euros is going to be a new airport for Belfast. And then Vienna is such a beautiful city. Will you be flying over Innsbruck by the chance? Unfortunately for my journey, I will not be going through Innsbruck, unfortunately for my journey. Though, I'll be flying over Salzburg and Linz, though, on my way there. We're following the railroad, so I wouldn't be flying by Innsbruck by chance. So that being said, I've flown through Innsbruck before. It's really cool. It's a cool area as well. Innsbruck is definitely one of the cooler areas in Austria. But yeah, Austria is a very, very historic place of its own. So we're gonna probably just briefly cross into the border with Czechia. Hey, Sir Chancellor has just followed the channel. Thank you so much, Sir Chancellor. I hope you're doing well today. So we're doing part 1 of my city tour from Berlin. We're going to talk about the history and everything about Berlin. I'm splitting this to 2 parts because Berlin has so many landmarks that I probably need to do it in 2 parts. But yeah, it's nice that I'm actually touring a place not in the United States for a change, which I think is nice. But it's great to see you, my friend. Beautiful morning for a little flight sim. It is a beautiful morning for Flight Simulator. Absolutely. Oh, if you can still see me, give me a relative position. Chronicle, you're actually I think you're below me, Chronicle. If for the last time I just checked. You're probably below me. I still see King Cobra, he's below me. But yeah, we're in Deutschland today. Oh, you're actually on my left. You're actually on my right. The Chronicle, you're on my right below me. So I see you. And I'm in the beautiful Yonkers Ju52, Sir Chancellor. This was actually the first local Legends plane done by by Microsoft and Asobo. This was their first local Legends, and I still think it's their best one. I mean, it's not often you get to fly an absolute German classic. It's a classic German plane in all intents and purposes, and I'm glad they brought this plane into the sim. I'm cruising around 132. I'm cruising also around 132 as well. My true airspeed's 132 knots. Cruise right around where the cruise speed should be. But I mean, look at the view out here. Look at the view. Isn't that just amazing? The view is absolutely stunning of the German countryside. And mind you, this is a route done by Deutsche Lufthansa back in the day. Oh, you're bougie and fly the Citation CJ4. Oh, really? You fly the CJ4. I'm not really great with the CJ4 myself, Sir Chancellor, but I am getting better with the airliners and such. But I mostly fly GA. I like the general aviation planes more. They fit more in my style. So let's see how. So according to my nav map, how far are we left to go? We're about 165 nautical miles left to go. We're about halfway there. We're almost at halfway there. We're about 40 miles from getting to the halfway point. I've always thought as Germany is the more mountainous. I've been once to Berlin where it's flat, but the Alps do reach into Germany. Yeah, the Alps do reach to Germany, quote unquote, but they reach into it's the very southern part of Germany they reach to. I mean, just right outside of Munich. Yeah, Germany does have some high points, but the Alps are usually in the very, very south of Germany. Like, it's right in the very south of the country. So Germany has a lot of hills, though. Germany does have hills and stuff. It's mostly it's either the very south of the country or through the Rhine Valley and the Black Forest. That's where you find the mountains here in Germany. Once you go further north, it's going to be much more flat, though there's still hills around the area. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about another thing about Berlin. I'm going to talk about a few more things. So the first thing I do want to talk about Berlin is the Seascape of Berlin. So you see, Berlin Seascape is quite unique among a lot of the European cities. I think it's a lot of the World War II stuff, but it's actually a polycentric organization city. There's a lot of array of different architecture and buildings throughout the different ages, and mainly the building's appearance was shaped by the role played in Germany's history during the 20th century. For example, each of the major German states that were based in Berlin had reconstruction programs to build the city in their unique architecture. So Berlin was often destroyed by all of the air raids, fires, and street battles during World War II. And many of the buildings that survived both in the east and west were demolished. However, many important heritage stuff has been reconstructed here in Berlin, including the Forum of Friedensburg, the State Opera, Charlottenburg Palace, the Monument Gardens, the Gun Market, the Market, the Kommandantur, and others were restored. There have also been many new buildings inspired by their historical predecessors or classical style of Berlin. There's also different clusters of towers rise in locations like Potsdamer Platz, the City West, and Alexanderplatz. However, most of the seascape, 1/3 of it, is a lot of green space, like woodlands and water. After all, Berlin's home to its second and most popular park, the Tiergarten, or Grosser Tiergarten. And there's also many famous streets here. They include two famous ones, Unter den Linden, a famous Boulevard here at the Central District of Berlin, and Friedrichstad. And Friedrichstrasse are found in the old center of the city. And its architecture as well, again, is very diverse as well. Berlin has some eclectic amount of architecture because of its history. The tallest structure here is actually the TV tower here, the Fernsehturm. Berliner Fernsehturm is one of the tallest structures here in the EU, rising over 1,200 feet, and is visible through most of the districts here in Berlin. There's also lots of the Socialist Boulevard that was built here during the East German style. And of course you have the Bradenburg Gates. This is the iconic landmark here in Berlin in Germany. It's symbols of eventful European history. There's Schauberg Palace, and of course Museum Island, a whole bunch of museum complexes built here. But that's just at least scratching the surface of Berlin's architecture. We'll be visiting a lot of these sites on next Sunday, so stay tuned for that. Oh, sorry, you had to jump out for a minute. No worries, Sergeant Staff. Had to go be an adult. Hey, no worries. Stuff like this happens, so stuff like this is always going to happen, so no worries. So now we entered a bit of Czechia. Right now we're about to cross the border into Czechia. While we're not turning anything about Czechia, there's actually a few things about the Czechia, or the Czech Republic, as a lot of people call. So I'm going to tell you about some interesting facts about this place. It's among the safest countries in the world to live in, according to the 2019 Global Peace Index. Of all European countries, it has the most castles in the entire continent, with over 2,000 castles are here, and it's home to the largest ancient castle in the world, Prague Castle, which is around 570 meters long and 128 meters wide. In fact, I know a lot of people think that Germany's well known for beer, but actually Germans are not the biggest drinkers of beer. The Czechs are. Beer is a massive deal in the Czech Republic. The first pale lager was brewed here in 1842 in the Czech Republic. Obviously, the most popular sport in the Czech Republic is not football, contrary to what many believe. It's actually ice hockey, because the Czechs are major world powers in ice hockey, and many players from Czechia have been successful NHL players. Most famously, Jaromír Jágr, and it's home to many famous people. Most famously, a very famous scientist, Johann Gregor Mendel, was born here, known for his groundwork in genetics. Still studied by a lot of biology stuff around the world. And Prague actually has one of the oldest universities in Central Europe, the Charles University, in 1348. And finally, the last thing about the Czech Republic is that the Czech Republic is also where Skoda was based on, founded in 1895. So yeah, just some basic Oh, your grandma was born in Prague. Oh, absolutely. Prague would be stunning. Prague is a stunning city. Definitely one of the world's great cities. I would love to see a world update in the Visegrad region. Like I said, the Visegrad region I think is ripe for an update, which is like Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic, and Slovakia. Oh, I would love to see a photogrammetry of Prague. That would be absolutely insane. Prague would be incredible to see with photogram. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that city has so much history. It's not funny. Like, in Central Europe, it's only rivaled by Vienna in terms of its history. And it is one of the twin cities of Berlin. Unfortunately, I was 7 years old when I did a tour here with my grandparents. Oh yeah, like I said, the Czechs, tons of castles around the area. The Czech Republic has some nice planes, the L410 and the L200. Yeah, those are pretty cool planes. Obviously there's the L39 Albatross that was actually built here during when they were Czechoslovakia, but they've actually made planes here. But yeah, the Czechs have made a big impact on a lot of aviation stuff. Since the groundwork of aviation. The L410 turbulets, they did a lot of L200. There's also the L13 sailplane, the Bologna sailplane, a revolutionary glider. But yeah, they make all sorts of really cool planes and such too. But yeah, the Czech Republic has some really cool planes as well. So guys, if you haven't checked out my Discord, I hope you guys get the link. If you guys like what you see, let me go ahead and, before you guys create the Discord again. So if you guys like what you've seen, definitely check out my Discord. I have a Discord here so you guys can check out my latest streams and content as that as well. But yeah, I would love, like I said, I would love to see a Visegrad World update to the Visegrad countries, like Poland, Czechia, Slovakia, and Hungary would be awesome. I think if they did a world update like that, that would be incredible. Like photogrammetry on cities like Warsaw, Budapest, Bratislava, and Prague would be amazing as well. If they did those 4 cities with photogrammetry, I would be really happy. Because all those cities have some really cool history and such. And of those 4, I think my favorite would be Prague. Hello, Rainbow Dog. Hello from Slovakia. Perfect. I was just wanting to mention about Slovakia. Good to see you. I'm from the United States of America. I'm from the U.S. I'm from around the the U.S. state of Indiana. Good to see you. So yeah, so from what I know about Slovakia, obviously modern day Slovakia didn't exactly gain independence until it used to be called Great Morava, and then it was part of Hungary for over 918 years. Then it became part of Czechoslovakia with Czechia. Then it became the Republic of Slovak in 1989, after the Velvet Revolution. But yeah, but a lot of Slovakia is based off the Tatra Mountains, which you get some of the taller mountains here in Central Europe. And of course, you have Bratislava, which is basically right. Its capital is Bratislava, and it's really right next to Vienna. It's like a small stone's throw from Vienna, basically, just across the river. But yeah, it's great to have a new face here, Rainbow Dog. If you like what you're talking about, I do lots of history stuff. I love talking about history. I love educating people. This is my stream, so we're doing a city tour of Berlin. So this is part one. I've already discussed the history of Berlin, Germany, and its architecture and cityscape. So you guys get to know a bit about Berlin, Germany. So I hope you guys enjoy the content. I know I've put a lot of effort into all this. So we're about the halfway point of today's journey. We should be flying over about the rest of this. Jaromir Jagr, very famous from definitely the most famous Czech hockey player. He's played 33 professional seasons of hockey. I mean, the dude is an absolute stud. Yeah, he's absolutely earned one of the greatest players of all time. I mean, I can't believe I can't believe he played for that long. And actually, he's still playing hockey professionally. In Czechia, he's still playing professional hockey. He's still playing hockey, even in 2022. And mind you, his first NHL appearance was in 1990. He was drafted in the NHL in 1990, and he played for the 90s, the 2000s, 2010s, and then he played professional hockey in the 2020s. He's played for 3 decades of professional hockey. Crazy, crazy stuff. Yeah, second only to Wayne Gretzky. Absolutely, Frontal. The dude's a stud. And I mean, a lot of people don't realize, but the Czechs are, like I said earlier, the Czechs are masters of hockey. The Czechs are one of the strongest hockey nations, ice hockey nations on the planet, along with Canada, Finland, Russia, Sweden, the US. So yeah, it's good to have you guys here. So there's some other facts about Slovakia as well. In addition to what I said earlier as well, there's some other interesting facts about the country. Obviously, per capita, it's actually got the most castles per capita. While the Czechs have the most castles overall, Slovakia has the highest number of castles per capita. 180 castles and 425 chateaus in a population that's smaller than the city of New York. And many of them are World Heritage Sites, including the medieval I think it's Beast Castle, which is one of the largest castles here in Central Europe. Slovakia also, according to the facts thing, from what I'm reading, has over 6,000 caves. And there's probably even more of them being discovered. Well. And believe it or not, Bratislava is actually the only capital that borders 2 different countries, as it borders Austria to the west and then in the south, Roslav borders Hungary. Pretty cool stuff. It's also the geographical midpoint of Europe, near the village of Friedensburg in Slovakia. Slovakia is also home to 9 national parks and 14 protected landscape areas. And there's over 1,300 mineral springs in the entire country. And finally, it is home to the highest wooden altar in the world in the old medieval town of Vosia. 18.6 meters high and 6 meters wide. So yeah, just wanted to actually say some facts about Slovakia, even though we're not visiting, but I think for some of you guys that want to know. So I hope you guys had some plans for the weekends. I hope you guys have had a good weekend. I know I watched Fabio's stream yesterday. He did the VATSIM poker night flight in the Northeast, the Boston Tea Party poker event, which was kind of fun and enjoyable itself. I also did watch Colonel Fork stream as well. Good to see Colonel Fork back streaming. I know he's had a lot of issues with work and such, but it was great to have him back. So yeah, that's kind of how it is. So I'm going to go talk about some other parts of Germany right now. So let's talk about economy and transportation. This will be for this part. What do you think is the best known Czech beer? I'm not really into beer, but I know the Czechs love their beer, by the way. However, the most well-known Czech beer, I think, according to what I've discovered, it is Pilsner Urquell. Pilsner Urquell is their most well-known beer. It's the world's first pale lager. And it's definitely the most well-known Czech beer. Friends all. It was the first pale lager on the entire world, and it's copied by lots of others around the world. There you are, Chronico. So fly with me today is Chronico. King Cobra is actually in the back. He's somewhere. Oh, there's King Cobra, and there's Alec D in the Arrow. Awesome. We got quite the cast here today. Flying with us. So yeah, we're on our way to Berlin. Yeah, we're back into Germany after visiting Czechia for a bit. But yeah, actually no. But it was first invented in 1842, and its popularity meant it was much copied. So that that lager was hopped with sauce hops that were made in Czechia to give it a unique flavor profile. As in the use of a lot of salt water, and almost all of it is sold filtered. All the draught is sold filtered. Often unfiltered in the Czechs, but very limited amounts in Germany, UK, United States, Sweden, and more. It's still sold here today as well. So here's the plan, guys. I think after this stream, hopefully, if he's still on, we're going to raid Captain Seppi. He got back after many months of work. So we're gonna definitely check out his channel. We're gonna wait till before he gets done. Let's go ahead and talk about the economy of Berlin. So Berlin's economy is one of the strongest in all European cities. It's historically been really, really strong. And I mean, it makes sense why Germany has such a strong economy. In 2018, the GDP of Berlin totaled at 147 billion euro, or 3.1% more than the previous year at 2017. Berlin's economy is known for its service sector, which 84% of all companies do businesses here in Berlin for services, with a total labor force of 1.85 million. Important sectors in Berlin, they include the life sciences, transportation, information, communication technologies, media, music, and much more. However, another place that have a lot of development in the city is research and development, R&D, as several major corporations like Volkswagen, Pfizer, and SAP have laboratories here in the city. And it's also home to the largest technology park in Germany, the Science and Business Park in Aldershof. And there are many German international companies that have set up their centers here in Berlin. Among the top 10 employers here in Berlin, they include the city-state of Berlin itself. Then we have the National Railway Company, Deutsche Bahn, hospital providers of Schade and Vivians. There's also BVG, the local transport provider, the federal government of Germany, Siemens, and Deutsche Telekom as well. In addition to this as well, we have other companies as well, including several banks, like Deutsche Credit Bank and Landsbank Berlin, and then there's also Mercedes-Benz Group. They manufacture cars in Berlin, along with BMW-built motorcycles. In 2022, this year, Tesla, the American car manufacturer Tesla, opened its first European gigafactory outside the city borders. In addition to this, there's also tourism, thanks to all the hotels and beds. Berlin is a major tourist destination here in Europe. Actually, it is the third most visited city in all of Europe, behind Paris and Barcelona, as the third most visited city destination here in Europe. And it's thanks to a lot of the iconic landmarks all throughout the place. There's also lots of creative industries like arts and entertainment. There's lots of films currently set in Berlin during this time. All throughout the decades, Berlin became a very popular place for lots of films. And after all, Berlin's a very important center of the German film industry, and of course there's lots of media and news outlets. Played a big role in Germany's and Berlin's economy. Then we're going to go to road transport. So in terms of transportation, Berlin's transportation complex is quite a diverse one. So there's many ways you can split transportation in Germany. So let's start with road transportation here. So in 2013, over 1.3 million motor vehicles were registered in the city. However, compared to a lot of Western world cities, Berlin has actually had one of the lowest number of cars per capita. So Berlin is much linked into many parts of the thing known as the Autobahn. And basically, for those who don't know what the Autobahn is, well, the Autobahn is to Germany what our highway system is in the United States. They link to lots of other networks, including the A2 to Hanover in the rural area, to Frankfurt on Main. We have A9 to Leipzig, Nuremberg, and Munich. And A12 to Frankfurt Oder, which connects it to Berlin. There's also links to Dresden and Hamburg as well. There's also a bus network here, the central bus station. This is where they do lots of buses, and they serve as alternative to the rail transit corridors. Well, there's lots of taxi cabs as well for taxis. In Berlin, most of them are either light yellow or beige ivory, though it's not compulsory anymore. Usually a lot of the taxi cabs are either Mercedes-Benz E or S classes, along with other mainly German brands. And finally, Berlin has one of the most highly developed bike lane systems here in all of Europe. After all, Berlin has one of the highest rates of bicycle commuting in the entire world. Around 1.5 million daily rides occur here in the city, which is around 13% of the total traffic of Berlin. And that's because, like I said, biking is really important here in Berlin for road transport. Some regions of the Autobahn are rumored to have no speed limit. That is true. Certain limits are posed on some classes of vehicle for speed limits. It depends on which part of the Autobahn it is. But yeah, the Autobahns are famous. They're one of the. They don't have any blanket speed limits, though there are some certain limits imposed in certain vehicles. But yeah, some parts, there's no blanket speed limit for it all, but there are some with just normal speed limits. Then we get to water transport here. So Berlin's water transportation, you see Berlin's on the banks of the Spree River, and it's home to quite a lot of waterways because it's linked to the Baltic Sea, North Sea, and the River Rhine by lots of networks, canals, and such. And this allows many different waterways to get through it. There's all sorts of canals as well. You have the River Dom, which joins the Spree in the eastern suburbs. There's also the Havel Canal, which travels downstream to the River Elbe. But one of the most important canals here within Berlin, one of those is the Berlin-Spandau Ship Canal, which runs from the Spree near the Hauptbahn to the whole River Havel. And this allows connections between the different sides of the canals. In addition, Berlin actually has ports in the city. The largest is Westhafen, which is the largest inland port here in Berlin. And they provide lots of transportation around for goods and people. And a lot of sightseeing boats operate on the central section of the River Spree, and they do lots of tours, like around the city center and everything. And then, of course, there's lots of different ferry services here too. But I think the most important railway service, the most important transport service here in Berlin is actually here in the railways. You see, Berlin is a massive rail hub here in Germany. Long-distance rail lines connect Berlin with all the major cities in Germany, and also along with many cities in neighboring European countries. The Berlin Hauptbahnhof is the largest gate-separated railway station here in Europe. The Deutsche Bahn operates a lot of the high-speed intercity express trains to a lot of domestic destinations, like Hamburg, Munich, Cologne, Stuttgart, Frankfurt am Main, and many others. And they also have some international destinations in cooperation with other railroads like Vienna, Prague, Zurich, Warsaw, Budapest, and Amsterdam. So you can see just how crazy Berlin has really developed its railway network. And there's also regional trains here too, operated by, again, the National Railway, Deutsche Bahn, which operates to destinations within and around the suburban areas. And unlike the S-Bahn public transport, it actually shares tracks with the longer trains. Then we get to the public transport. Berlin's public transport, there's actually two major things that separate. There's all sorts of public transport systems. So they're usually operated under the regional transit authority known as the Verkehrsverbund Berlin-Bradenburg, or VBB. And they're usually the ones playing authority for regional transport. And there's many different ways they do regional transport, with different separate networks for heavy, light, and rail transport and all that. So the U-Bahn, one of them is the U-Bahn, which is an urban rapid transit system. within the city borders. They usually operate, well, the majority of the U-Bahn is underground. They do have elevated tracks at street level. And then it has over 9 lines and 173 stations all throughout the city. And they travel 400 million passengers over a single year. And the first line was actually opened back in 1902. And then there's the S-Bahn, which basically is both rapid transit and commuter rail operations. And basically the S-Bahn, the difference between the S and U-Bahn, it actually complements the U-Bahn system. And basically the S-Bahn blends elements of commuter rail and rapid transit. It has over 15 routes and with 166 different stations around the Berlin metropolitan area. And it carries both, and basically the Stadtbahn contains both S-Bahn and long distance trains on 2 separate tracks. Then we have the Tram System, which has over 22 different tram lines, 377 stops, with routes all across Berlin. There's buses as well, with all sorts of bus networks, with the 149 daily bus routes. I remember Seamus McNeil played the bus, and he actually went through all the different bus routes. So I'm familiar with that. There's ferries and cable cars here as well. There are only certain parts with no speed limit. And finally, the last part about public transportation are the airports. Berlin actually has only one commercial international airport right now, which is the newest one, Berlin Bradenburg, that just opened back in 2020. Replaced both Tegel Airport and the Schofield Airport. But Berlin's airports have a long history. The original airfield in Berlin was Johannesthal Airfield in 1909. However, the first commercial airport that came around was Berlin Tempelhof. We're going to be visiting over the site next week. But Berlin Tempelhof has an extremely proud history, extremely storied history. Berlin Tempelhof was the main hub of Lufthansa. It played a massive role in the Berlin Air Raid and such. And then after Tempelhof came a new international airport, Tegel Airport, which became Germany's main, it used to be Germany's main international airport itself, and they did lots of flights out of Tegel Airport. And then finally we got the newest airport, which is Berlin Brandenburg. But yeah, Germany has a deep airport history as well. So that concludes our airports here in Berlin. Okay, we're 83 now. Wow, we're 83 miles out. So we have about an hour left to go. We have about less than an hour. Thank you guys so much for coming along on today's stream. I really deeply appreciate you guys coming along and joining me on this long flight. I really appreciate you guys coming here today. It means a lot that you guys are here to join along with me in this long flight. So, I hope you guys have had some big weekend plans, myself. So hopefully after this, I'll be working on next Wednesday's flights. And then next Sunday will be, well, the tour. You guys, I'll take you around a lot of the places here in Berlin. This should be a really enjoyable flight. So I hope you guys learned a bit about Berlin's transportation. So I'll be heading right back. I got a restroom break. I gotta go to the restroom, so I'll be right back. Hey, I'm back. So let's go ahead and knock these out of the way next. The cultural stuff here in Berlin. So Berlin is very rich in culture. Of all the German cities, it might just be among the richest culturally. Berlin is known for its world city for a lot of its cultural activities. There's lots of museums, culture entrepreneurs and artists still playing a big part of Berlin, along with its nightlife. So we start with, well, its creative industries. Berlin, after all, is a major part of the European film and German film industry. More than 1,000 film and TV program and production companies and movie theaters operate here in Berlin. There's the Valspar Studios, which is located outside of Berlin. It's also home to the European Film Academy and hosts the annual Berlin International Film Festival, which was founded in 1951, and with over 430,000 admissions, it's the largest publicly attended film festival in the world. It's also home to many international and regional television radio stations, along with the daily newspapers, broadsheets, tabloids, and more. And there's lots of creative arts and stuff around here in Berlin too. Then we get to Germany's nightlife and stuff. Berlin is among the most diverse nightlives in all of Europe. Throughout the 90s, people in their 20s from many countries made Berlin's club scene the premier nightlife destination in Europe. There's also lots of festivals as well, including the Carnival de Culture, which is celebrated every weekend at the Pentecost, and Christopher Street Day, supported by the city's governments. There's also a lot more cultural festivals as well. But here's a surprising thing for some of you guys. Berlin actually has a long history of gay culture. In the 1920s, it was known as the gay capital of Europe, and today the city has a huge number of gay clubs and festivals as well. There's also the street festival here in Berlin, known as the Lesbach Stadtfest and more, the LGBT community, and finally there's the Australian Film Festival found here in Berlin. Pretty cool stuff. Berlin also has lots of museums, over 600 art galleries with over 6,000, 7,000 artists that live in the city. It's home to 153 museums, including the UNESCO World Heritage Site Museum Island, which is a whole bunch of museums on a single island. There's also the Jewish Museum in Germany, which has exhibitions of German Jewish history. And there's even a lot of technology museums too. And of course, performing arts. Berlin has a rich that too. It's also very well known for performing arts. It's one of the leading European cities in that sort of stuff too. The Deutsches Theater was built in 1849 and has operated continuously since then. You also have, there's also a lot of other film stuff. There's 3 major opera houses that have been operating here, including the Berlin State Opera that opened in 1742 and is the oldest of the 3. And there's also 7 symphony orchestras, including one of the most preeminent orchestras, the Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra. As well, we have Berlin's cuisine, which is very diverse. Its gastronomy is very diverse, considering all the immigrant history of the city. All of the restaurants in Berlin have been included in the Michelin Guide, which ranks it among the top for its number of restaurants in Germany. Outside of that, Berlin is well known for its vast offering of vegetarian, vegan, and sustainability-oriented foods like fair trade goods. And Berlin is one of the cities with the most vegetarian and vegan restaurants in the world. Also, many local foods originating from northern German cultural traditions have been around here. And one of the most typical Berlin affairs include the famous Currywurst. It did in 1949, which is the picture here, and the Berliner, which is a very famous German donut. And finally, many of the Turkish and Arab immigrant workers brought their traditions to Berlin, mainly the doner kebab, falafel, and the lahmacun, which is Middle Eastern flatbread meat dish. And finally, for the recreation as well, There's a lot of recreation stuff here, including the Zoologischer Garten Berlin Zoological Garden, one of the founded in 1844, and it has the most diverse range of species in the planet. There's also Berlin's largest park, the Tiergarten, that was there as well, and there's many different monuments and such, along with its beach bars, cafes, restaurants, and fun. And sports. Berlin has established a high-profile reputation for live international sport events, including hosting the 1936 Olympics. It was the host city for the FIFA World Cup final in 2006. The Berlin Marathon has been held here every single year. And open-air gatherings have several hundred thousand spectators, including the World Cup and more. Many fans watch the huge video screens during there. And there's finally several major clubs representing the most popular spectator sports. Most famously for football, we have Hertha BSC, which is the most iconic of the German sports teams that play here in the Olympic Stadium. So when's Oktoberfest hosted? Oktoberfest, that's a good question. Oktoberfest 2022 is held in Munich, actually. It's actually held in Munich from September 2017 to Monday, October 3rd. So we're about 54 nautical miles. Look at that, we're over 9,000 feet. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, we're 9,000 feet up. That's pretty good. So thank you guys so much. So yeah, still flying with us is Chronico. We have Alec D and King Cobra flying with us. And Chronico is just below us. The guys, we're about to, we're not far from the airport. We're only about 50 nautical miles away. I mean, on this beautiful, where the Oktoberfest held, like it's in Munich. So thank you guys so much for coming along on today's stream. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for being on this tour, on this historical stuff. So I got one final slide for today. If you guys don't mind, I'm probably going to go ahead and cover the slide for this. So this is the Berlin Bradenburg Airport. This is where we're going to make our final stop for today's trip. It's actually the most recent airport in Germany. I believe it opened actually on October 31st, 2020, but this thing was actually constructed back in 2006 when they started construction. It took over nearly 14 years to get this thing open. It was named Willy Brandt Airport after the former West Berlin mayor and West German chancellor, Willy Brandt. It is currently a base for EasyJet, Eurowings, and Ryanair operates out of this airport. It mostly has flights to the European and leisure destinations around Europe, as well as a number of intercontinental services. It replaced multiple airports, mainly the Tempelhof, Schönefeld, and Tegel airports, and became the single commercial airport here in the city. With projected annual passenger numbers around 34 million, it has become the third busiest airport in all of Germany, behind only Frankfurt and Munich. It's one of the 15 busiest in Europe as well. In fact, the airport was actually supposed to be opened back in 2011. However, there was a lot of delays due to poor construction planning, execution, management, and corruption, and finally opened back in 2020. So it had a lot of issues as well. So this airport contains 2 parallel runways as well, and these runways have been over 13,000 feet as well. The southern runway is around 13,000 feet of runway, while the northern runway is around nearly 12,000 feet. It features an info tower, which is 32 meters high, includes a museum and gift shop. But that has since been demolished. And there's lots of destinations that operate here from Berlin, Bradenburg. So let me go ahead and look that up. How many? Berlin, Bradenburg. So they actually do 7 domestic flights from Berlin, but they actually fly 156 destinations in 40 different countries. The longest flight is from Berlin to Singapore at around 6,000 miles, over 5,000 nautical miles is the longest flight. But they do flights, a lot of international flights, including the United States, the Middle East, Europe, in Asia, and even some destinations in Africa like Morocco and Egypt. The only place they don't really serve is South America or Australia. They serve everything else. Here in Berlin, Bradenburg. But yeah, it's the main, it's a base for EasyJet and Ryanair, which does the vast majority of its destinations here from Berlin. There's also rail transportation around the airport as well, with a rail terminal and all that, road transport and more. So that's a bit about Berlin Brandenburg Airport, guys. The newest Berlin airport. So yeah, we're about to make our way here in Berlin. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of the Sunday. I know this is supposed to be our day to relax and everything. But yeah, it's a beautiful day here. What runway would you like to land at? I think the runway we're going to land at is, I think we're going to take the 07 right. 07 right would be our runway for today. Yeah, 07 right would be our runway for today. So 38 nautical miles out. Yeah, we're landing at Echo Delta Delta Bravo. Yep, Berlin Brandenburg. So for our journey though, we're going to be visiting the other international airports in Berlin. We'll be visiting Tempelhof and Tegel on Sunday, so we'll be checking out these airports. So yeah, so we're about to reach our way into Berlin. I'm going to actually go ahead and disengage the autopilot, because you know the Yonkers is actually a very stable plane, so easy to fly. Miles out. I think we could, yeah, I see the airport all the way down over here. There's the airport. There's some wind farms down below. I mean, the scenery in Microsoft Flight Simulator is just so impressive to look at, with all the scenery and such. Maybe I should operate my own Firefly Air thing. Maybe Vipe Air Tours. And I'm glad to be out here today with you guys. I mean, it makes my day being with you guys on Sundays. Oh, look at that. There's Mongo in the P-51. Mongo, good to see you, my good friend. Awesome flying. So we're gonna go ahead and start a descent. So we're gonna descend here. When we're done, we should rate Captain Seppi. Yep, we're gonna rate Seppi. He hasn't been on stream for a long time. So guys, while we descend, let's go ahead and write down the predictions for our landing here. So make sure you guys write down your predictions. Exclamation point predict, then put a negative number. And we'll be doing our predictions, and we'll be done for today's stream. All right, we got some prediction. So yeah, we reach into Bradenburg. Man, a lot of people are here today. Hey, Planet Neutral, good to see you, my good friend. Definitely check out Planet Neutral's channel. From around my local area. Definitely check out Planet Neutral. He makes some good flight sim content. He streams usually later in the day for me. I bet you guys it's really early in the morning, but definitely check out Planet Neutral. Definitely support his channel. I hope you're doing great, my friend. We're heading to Berlin now in the Yonkers. We took off from Munich about 2 hours ago. So we flew from Munich to Berlin. I discussed part 1 of the city tour. Next week will be the entirety of Berlin itself. So yeah, we're about to reach Berlin-Brandenburg Airport. There's the runway down here. There's the runway here. But man, what a beautiful place in the sim. Definitely flying over Germany. So we're going to go ahead and deploy the flaps. So we'll be getting ready to make our landing here. So yeah, we're right outside the suburbs of Berlin. The primary international airport here in Berlin serves a lot of destinations in Europe internationally. In Europe, North America, North Africa, the Middle East, and even destinations in Asia. I already didn't. Negative 95 is usually what I do because I'm Viper Strike 95. Yeah, negative 65 would be good. Yeah, usually, in real life, you don't really want to do smooth landings. You want to get your thing planted down to get things stopped. You also don't want to bounce it too hard, though. So you need to find the balance between smooth enough that you don't break the landing gear, but hard enough you can plant this thing on the ground. You need to find that balance. There's mate pilot. All right, gonna fold it like this. Negative 64. Oh my goodness, planet neutral is right on the money. And there it is. Right on the money. Awesome job, planet neutral. Great. That was perfect. Great landing. So we're just gonna have to find somewhere to park. I'm just gonna follow the taxiways to my parking spot. All right, guys. So yeah, we made our way here. I'm just gonna taxi up to the side of the runway, guys. Wrap up the stream. So that's it, guys. We wrap up today's stream on a high note. Let's see. Alec D and Mongo is still gonna have to land, so we're gonna watch their landing and get back to our let's check out their landings, and then we'll go raid Captain Seppi's channel. I mean, he hasn't been on in a long while, so we're gonna definitely check out his channel. So there's Mongo down in the P-51. In the Warbird. No, I don't think I had the. I don't think I had the Reno P-51. I've uninstalled it. You're such a legend. Glad I got here for some butter for my Sunday brunch. No problem, Planet Neutral. We're gonna have Alec D. So guys, thank you so much for coming on today's stream. The turnout has been extremely impressive. Thank you guys so much for turning out to today's stream. You guys have all been amazing today. 22 viewers, you're all amazing, you know that. So guys, we made it to Berlin, Bradenburg. Guys, what an awesome way to end today's stream. So guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to sign off. So on Wednesday, we do leg 3 of the Orient Express from Munich to Vienna. We'll be going across the seas of Salzburg, Linz, all the way to Vienna. And then next Sunday, we'll do part 2 of our tour in Berlin. We're going to visit some of the most iconic landmarks in the city. Bradenburg Gate, the Reichstag, and much, much more. So guys, thank you so much. We're gonna raid my good friend Captain Seppi. This is his first stream back in months. So I want everyone to attend. I want everyone, come on, you all. I want every single one of you to join on this stream. Thank you guys so much. And give Captain Seppi a warm welcome back. Take care, everyone. Fiber Strike 95 will be signing off. See you guys later.